Are
All
we starting?
yours. Yep, all yours.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right. So, following up from last week, we were talking about how, oh man, losing it. So, yeah, the idea of, what exactly an Elohim is, right?
Hmm.
Because it often gets lost in translation. And Dr. Heiser takes about probably 5 pages to explain that Elohim is not exclusive to it. Well, it's a plural, but the word God is not exclusive to one person.
Mm-hmm.
And us in the West have a hard time understanding that because from our Christian background, we assume the God of the Bible is God whenever we come up with that in our heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is that, God is considered an Elohim in the text of scripture. Okay, well, also a bunch of these other beings that live in heaven are, are described as also being Elohim. So we have different kinds of Elohim. And so Heiser is trying to use all of this to plug together a celestial model, a cosmological model on how all these different Elohim fit together within the cosmos, right?
Mm.
What they are, what they do, um, you know, how they live. All of those are questions that seek to be answered by this study, right?
Mm.
So, of course, Heiser wants to make Yahweh a distinct Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
but we just can't attribute. We take the attributes of like omni God, but Yahweh has those, but those attributes are exclusive to Yahweh, not Elohim.
Yes.
As he's trying to make that, so that's what he's taking at least 5 pages in a roundabout, beat around the bush way to say.
Right.
I don't know, maybe because I pre-read on how polytheism works and or this world full of gods text, it's primed me to just cut around all the nonsense and just get to the heart of the matter. But the ultimate idea is that when in the text of the Bible, when we read the word Elohim in Hebrew, it's not exclusive to Yahweh. There are different kinds of Elohim, but Yahweh is a distinct, unique Elohim. All right. So, getting into our show for this week, um, we just continue on the Elohim track. So, it's easier to say that Elohim is the Hebrew word for a plurality of gods or divinities. However, Heiser needs his maximalist interpretation to prove Orthodox Christianity and exclusive monotheism, but this is where it becomes easy to be confused. So, what happens is we have to understand a material immaterial distinction, right? As Elohim are immaterial, like we can't touch them, we can't see them. They operate in like the heavenly world, whereas we are here on earth and we are in the realm of senses, right? In Plato, this gets called the aesthetic realm. That's the world that's sensory, but then you have a world that is not sensory. It can only be perceived by the mind, and that's what's called the noetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Noetic has the root of nous, which is your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's all belief, ideation. That's what that world is.
Mm.
That's how you reach the higher realm. And Plato talks about that relationship. I know you're a big fan of Plato, Larry.
Oh
And
yeah, we're
to those who
buddies.
don't know, I'm saying that sarcastically because Larry and I get on here all the time fighting about Plato.
Yep.
Um, right. So, but the idea is that you have these dual realities that come from classical theism. Also this relationship where the gods live in heaven and we're here on earth, and there's a distinct relationship between the two. Like there's a sorting,
Mm-hmm.
that the gods are in heaven and we're here on earth, right? Yehezkel Kaufman's Israelite Religion talks about this. And also the Gifford lectures from 1925 also discuss this relationship, how the gods are separate from the world. And there's different systems where if the gods can interact with the world or not, or are the gods part of the world or not. And so that's the so we're not here to go down each of those rabbit trails, but there's a specific relationship in the cosmological model that the gods in the immaterial heavenly realm have to us humans down here in the sensory material realm, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So from an A&E point of view, at a very basic kindergarten level, uh, sky's up, earth is down, sky is gods, earth is humans. It's
Exactly.
really just that simple.
Yes. Thank you, Larry, because that actually sums it up really well. Now, another word that I like to use is the immaterium in the Warhammer 40K lore. But
Hmm.
what it is that it describes this timeless void beyond like the sensory world where all the chaos gods live,
Hmm.
or where all the spirit beings of Warhammer 40K live, right? Most notably the chaos gods, but the idea is that we can't touch it, we can't see it,
Hmm.
but can we interact with it? That is the real question. Is it? That's where things get interesting.
Hmm.
But moving on. So what we need to so if we can look at it as Yahweh God or Yahweh Elohim has a unique set of attributes to distinguish him from the other Elohim gods, right?
Hmm.
So if you think Yahweh Elohim and like the other Elohim, they are distinct, right?
Hmm.
Because to quote Paul of Frederickson, in antiquity all gods existed. Yahweh has to be the most high El Elyon in the system, so there is him and there's other Elohim below him in the hierarchy. This is Heiser's starting point in building a cosmology, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And of course, using Deuteronomy 32:8, Psalm 82, all his favorite pet verses, and so he has the beginnings of a system, but it lacks the robustness that you would find elsewhere in other systems. Anyway, so Deuteronomy 32:43 is thought to link the Shemayim heavens with the Elohim gods. Supplementing Dead Sea Scrolls Deuteronomy 32:8 reading shows that gods are a proper cognate for Elohim. Therefore, heavenly ones or heavenly gods would be a more literal, appropriate term to describe these people or beings, excuse me.
Hmm.
Because of course you have the Shemayim heavens, or you have the or also like in our messianic circle we have when we say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, it's Avinu Haba Shemayim. Sheba Shemayim. Thank you, Emily. It's yeah, the Father who dwells in heaven,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, so heaven is a dwelling place of all the Elohim.
Hmm.
if if I can make any point with a slide, that's what it is that the Elohim live in heaven, obviously. Got it.
Right.
All right. Next slide. Kokabim, right? Now, Kokabim translates to stars as like the hot gas light dots we see in space, right? So
Hmm.
whenever you watch your favorite science fiction TV show or consume that piece of media, it's those stars are Kokabim, right?
Hmm.
Now, heavenly ones, Shemayims, easily links to the stars because we see Genesis 2:1, Jeremiah 8:2, Job 38:5 through 7, especially. That's, when the stars of God shouted for joy at
Hmm.
creation.
Hmm.
Angels being linked to celestial bodies is also explored in rabbinic teachings, Enochian magic, alchemy, and even early Gnostic literature. They can connect to the archons, where Gnostic sects have these heavenly Elohim in a robust hierarchical cosmological model. Now, Heiser does not deem these connections as poetic expressions, but concrete depictions of literal heavenly ones on a celestial hierarchy. So this is where he makes his case. Now, I threw a lot of references at you out there, but the idea of archons, a lot of Gnostics pull on the Ephesians 6 text, where it says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, And the
Archons.
spiritual wickedness in high places. And these rulers, the Greek word there is archontes,
Hmm.
right? Which is, a head or a ruler or someone that's above you, right?
Hmm.
And these archons, there normally is 7 of them, one for each planet of the material world. Because if you have geocentric astrology in mind, each of those archons represents a particular planet. And then there's traditions in what I've just mentioned where the angels of God in heaven are ruling. They are archons over the different planetary bodies or days of the week or stuff.
Hmm.
But that comes way later in the tradition.
Yeah. Of
Right.
course, the thing that your average Christian may be able to plug in rather quickly is that the reason that the archons are seen as the rulers in high places where they're the bad guys, if you will, is
Yeah.
because the planets are roving around the sky, as opposed to star fields that are more fixed. The whole star field might rotate around the planet, or whichever way the A&E folks would have seen that. But from their point of view, the stars are fixed. They're in the same location, same configurations. It's the planets that
Yeah.
are moving about in quote unquote rebellion. So thus Archon gets linked to rebels.
Right. But not always, though.
No, not always. No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
because an archon does not always have a negative connotation. And of
Hmm.
course, the different Gnostic groups believe different things. So
Hmm.
I can't really just blanket term Gnostics, which is really annoying. I have to be very specific every single time I mention Gnosticism.
Yeah, because there's a just like there's
Yeah.
multiple Judaisms, multiple Christianities, there's also multiple
Yes.
Gnostics.
And they all have different cosmologies.
Hmm.
But there's themes because a lot because like the prison planet Gnostics, right?
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, these archons rule the planets and they represent the different planets and constellations and they work for the demiurge and they act like prison guards to keep you trapped in material reality in your body
Mm.
when you actually belong in the pleroma, in the fullness where it's immaterial, where things are static, not moving. Things are static,
Hmm.
and that is the true reality, and that's your true self that you need to get to assimilate to the one or the absolute or the
Mm.
highest God,
Hmm.
right? A lot of that should ring familiar with the I got to get to heaven religion,
Hmm.
right? It's literally a continuation of that theological pattern. It is prison planet,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So this is why Matthew Bates, you should totally read his book Gospel Allegiance to figure out that it's really about the kingship of Jesus and not just a get out of hell free card.
Right. And the other piece of that for the untrained Christian mind is that this isn't a die and go to heaven and you're forever in heaven. It is, no, we're designed for this planet, this realm. This is where we spend eternity. We might meet the Lord in the sky, but we welcome and are in the entourage that walks him back to the earth, and the earth is our forever home, which again it flies in the face of the prison planet idea, because prison planet says planet bad, material bad, whereas Bible is preaching no, planet good. Read Genesis. God says good. And so if planet good, body good, material good, and you look into Revelation, the end of Revelation, and you see everything coming back to the earth to live here forever in a remade, rebuilt, rehabilitated, healed, whatever you want to call it, suddenly the notion of escaping and flying off to heaven forever gets roasted across the fire. It's like, no, it doesn't
Exactly.
survive.
yeah, because N.T. Wright harps on that a lot because he really takes a shot at Epicureans all the time that the gods are detached and we're supposed to get out of here
Mm,
because we don't really belong here. But is that no? Jesus meets us on his way down
yes,
to set up a material Jerusalem and rule from there on earth.
forever.
Right? Yeah. That's the Christian hope. That's the resurrection because you get back a material body.
Correct.
Yeah. That's what was trying to be communicated in things that N.T. Wright has recovered from us
Hmm.
from all his study of Paul and the historic background of the New Testament, which he's spilled no small amount of ink on, and is a very and it and I gotta shill one of my Anglican scholars here because I'm Anglican now. But but yeah, it's that point. It's that it's that hope of the new creation that Jesus brings from his kingship on earth,
Correct.
right? And that's the Christian hope that he markets, right?
Yeah.
Instead of you know God can't stand the sight of you. You're so glad that he hasn't annihilated you yet, you sinful wretch. Thank goodness he killed his son.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, Jonathan Edwards.
Right, right.
Jonathan
Exactly.
Edwards, Puritans, the Calvinists. It's
Hmm.
how dare you?
Mm.
It's like, listen, So so that's where it kind of helps here. But there is a relationship late because even in Testament of Solomon, you have to come back to our slide here. It's that different planetary bodies and constellations are linked to angels and demons.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
I have to go back and read Enoch and see if that says anything about this too. But the idea is that it's much more broader than how that works because then it's that well what if in the Jewish frame it's like okay well Michael is now moving we have Uriel in retrograde like angels just are the planetary bodies
Hmm.
so that's where you have like an astrological view of this.
Hmm.
However, that's not what Dr. Heiser is getting at.
Of course.
Right. Yeah. Because what he is that these are actually, this is a hierarchy of spirit beings that I'm trying to derive from the Bible alone, wink, wink, on how they all work in Yahweh's heavenly court.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. But what happens is that sometimes a relationship is linked. Like, for example, the gods of Rome is that you have Yov as the king god for the planet Jupiter, and they're actually watching Yov rule the sky as he comes across in the night when they
Hmm.
can observe him moving. Mercury as he's shooting around, we can observe Mercury as he moves throughout the heavens, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because they are analogs for planets are analogs for the gods and vice versa.
Hmm.
But yeah, but it just kind of depends, right? It just kind of depends on what pagans are very loosey goosey about things like that.
Well, yeah, and what it does is it lends to the idea that none of this is simple. It's a
No.
lot more complicated than we normally in the 20th century and 21st century, we get taught a very simplistic model. And if you stepping back in history, you find out it's much more complicated.
Oh yeah, because it varies by tradition, and then currently right now, like just how this is presented to us, we are functional Zoroastrians because
Yeah.
we don't study angels and demons. We just let Milton and Don and Alighieri tell us about these things,
Hmm.
and then that dictates our media culture
Right.
because that was kind of the last big output treatment of angels and demons
Mm.
that we can take like from the Christian camp because of course you also have Aleister Crowley dealing with demons in the early 20th century and stuff like that.
Right.
But for the last big Christian cultural like literary output on this topic was Milton and Alighieri. So
Mm.
that's how we're going to understand. That's how we're going to understand this, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And while it's a fun story, and it's dripping with significance, and it's it's fun to read about Dante traversing heaven, hell, and purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the Bible,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though it's Bible derived. It is not the text of Scripture itself.
Right.
So as much as we'd like to go into that, and plus even Milton and Alighieri, we can look at them as different traditions.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my readings of like the whole angels and demons topic, it's that the tradition changes every time someone touches the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no clear consistent through line of like this is the orthodox position of angels and demons.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no real set hard thing. It's different for every single person that touches it. Now the demons have stayed a bit consistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of be like we care much more about demons than we care about angels, because I'm looking at all my documents to plug into my like AI model,
Mm-hmm.
preparing to dual you Larry at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is that like I have so much more demon material than I do angel material. It's embarrassing
Mm.
on the angel camp. So it's like and that's why this book is here. And it's like, what do we know from the text of the Bible, asterisk, how like what are angels, what do they do, how do they operate?
Mm-hmm.
So big tangent there, sorry everybody.
Yeah. No worries.
Love talking about this stuff, I really do. Yeah, but you see but with the Kokabim, it's like it puts them in the sky, right? Because then
Yes.
also if angels are depicted with wings, that means that they are heavenly because they can touch the sky, right? And they
Yeah.
go into the sky realm, right?
It does remind me that the up down sky earth gods in the sky, humans on earth left out one critical piece, and that is the underworld. And the
Yeah.
underworld is baked into that model as well.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you're going to touch demons at that level. And every now and again, you may have angels descending into that underworld to handle some level of business. But for the most part, that's not an angelic realm.
Unless, unless
Yeah.
the jail of the fallen watchers,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The
yeah,
Enoch and Peter story. Yes.
the jail of the fallen watchers, they still are the same type of being
Hmm.
that Michael, Gabriel are,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, even though they have a different faction and they went a different part, is that they still are in that classification of
Correct.
type of being. They are in that category,
They are.
right? Which kind of adds to the mystery. It's
It
like, well,
does.
how do we build all of this, right?
Yep.
Because even if demons are on the earth, like the 1/10 of them that's led by what's his name, Mastema,
Mastema. Hmm.
yeah, in the Book of Jubilees, right?
Yep.
Is that, well, they're on earth, angels
Yep.
are in the sky,
Yep.
who's under the earth?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's the prison of the fallen watchers.
Yep. Yep.
So they don't get to interact with any of their kind at all.
Nope.
Yeah, they're just put in an underground prison.
Locked up until judgment.
Yeah. It kind of makes me laugh. It's like, you ever see Pirates of the Caribbean ride when the
Hmm.
pirates are trying to get the dog with the keys, trying to
Hmm.
coax him over.
Hmm.
It's kind of funny they do that with Enoch. Always cracks me up. Funny little analogy. Yeah, but the picture of both angels and demons is very complex.
Yes.
Yeah. but it all stems from this, which is the Hebrew Bible and the Jewish tradition of where all this springs out from.
Right.
This is the wellspring of everything that comes after it.
Right.
Yeah. Now, hierarchy. Many scholars have pointed out that there is a discernible hierarchy within the divine council. All council members, including Yahweh, are heavenly spirit beings, which are ruhot spirits, Shemayim, heavens, and Elohim, which are gods, small g. However, a careful comparison of the council terminology sketched here with text from ancient Canaan, particularly Ugarit, and the terms sons of God, B'nai Elohim or Elim, and angel Malak shows one to discern these three tiers within the council. Cool. So we're using the Bible alone, but we're also going to pull from the Ugaritic stuff.
Imagine that.
Yeah, but yeah, but it is a distinct point here. So
Hmm.
he appeals to words such as assembly, which is edah, a collective of persons, right? Council, Hebrew sod, used to describe used to describe council of the holy ones, right?
Hmm.
The the Kedoshim, that's what that is, I think.
Hmm.
Congregation Kahal, a collective of persons, which is like the sons of God who meet in the skies, right?
Right.
Assembled meeting, Hebrew moed, or I've also heard this translated as like an appointed time
Hmm.
in reference to the feast days. They get called moedim, like
Hmm.
meeting times,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Yeah. Or it's just messianics trying to wow you with their Hebrew.
No, no, no,
Because
that's
they do
it.
that all the time. It's so funny to me. It's
Yeah.
like it's like they try to throw Hebrew in there, like like they get brownie points or something.
God does a happy dance.
That was in Paleo Hebrew.
Oh goodness. Later. But hang on to that. I have a funny story for you.
Okay.
All right, but we'll get to that later. So the Moed is connected to the ancient Near East Mount of Meeting as the stars of God meets with their king,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think where he pulls from this in the text is also associated with Mount Zaphon,
Mm.
which not only Zaphon is Hebrew for north,
Hmm.
Mount Zaphon is also the throne mountain of the god Baal,
Hmm.
if I'm correct.
Hmm.
I need to go recheck the Baal cycle, but Baal sits on Mount Zaphon. So that's where Baal meets with his council of gods to rule and reign the world. All right.
Right.
Now, then there's also court. Aramaic lemadim. This lemma, I don't know if that's a prefix or something. I'm losing it. I'm not really sure where that is in text. But anyway, if you want to
It's
look
the
it up, it's in
root.
Daniel. It's in Daniel if you want to see.
Yeah,
Um,
the lemmas are the roots.
Thank you.
The specific words descend out of the lemmas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's used in Daniel to describe the thousands upon thousands before the throne of the Ancient of Days, which I believe is
Mm.
Daniel 7.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So thousands upon thousands. So that's a heavenly court before the throne, if I ever heard of one.
Hmm.
Now, these words in Psalms 82 and 89 lay the bedrock of not only his whole position on the matter, but how Heiser will go on to explain how the heavens function within a second temple Jewish worldview from the Old Testament. And something I'm noticing in studying all this is Heiser puts a lot of stock in what the Psalms are saying, and then insisting it's not poetry.
Mm. Well, it's both. Um,
Could very well be.
it is definitely poetry. And I just completed that volume two of Hashem, and following the divine name pattern through Psalms is number one is absolutely stunning. But the thing that you come away with is that there is a um well the thing to say about the Psalms is, first of all, is that they're built. They didn't just fall out of the sky in the order that they're in. They are built by a human hand under a providential um, ordering, if you will. Um, for instance, there's 5 books. The first book uh, consists of course, David is being chased, harassed, trying to kill him, blah blah blah. But it takes segments of David's life out of chronological order, flops it into the first book. So what you find is in one part of it, David is being chased by Saul. But then in another part of it, David is being chased by his son Absalom, which is post Saul, Davidic throne, and Absalom is now in pursuit of his dad. So the it is poetry. There's some history that is involved with it. And what's really interesting about it is that the 5 books follow 5 basic seasons of a human being, the nation itself, Israel. Um, Generally speaking, groups of people. So whether you're talking nation, church, whether you're talking about universal church, local church, the thing telescopes in and out of both, all the way from individuals up to the entire story of God. It's like the entire Bible is being told from Psalm 1 all the way to Psalm, what is it, 150 something. The whole story is there. The 5th book of Psalm is telling you the revelation story and the descent of the king back to with Jerusalem, setting it up, and all of the nations bowing. As a matter of fact, at the very tail end of book 5, you have even the Gentiles are using the Hashem Yud He Vav He name, whereas prior to that they're not. They're simply not using that because that's an intimate name that is known only to Israel. Or later, if you want to project onto it Christians and the Christian church, it's a name that is used by the church, but ultimately in book 5, when Jesus returns as king and sets up an earthly kingdom, now the whole world is using the Yud He Vav He or the Yah. So, I can see the point of dialing it in like a series of diamond facets, where at one level you're looking at it as pure poetry, but at another level you're looking at it as history, and another you're looking at it as seasonal descriptions of Christian living or human living or the state of Israel or whatever you want to do. So it's really an interesting study in that way.
Indeed. Indeed. Appreciate it, Larry.
Yeah, sorry, I went on a little long there.
Oh no, you're fine. I love these. I love these. Please. Like if you guys have things you want to say, speak up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Please inject.
Yes. All right. So other Aramaisms that are relevant here, you have terms like the ear or the irin, which is from Daniel 4, and they get translated as watchers. If you've read Heiser speak about the Genesis 6, if you've read Heiser speak about the Genesis 6 story and the Dead Sea Scrolls and Essay material, this should be not a shock to you, because this is where Heiser talks about how the watchers, come down from heaven, mate with human women, create a, race of super giants. But the idea of watchers is it's essentially a job description, because it often makes me think of, like, in Marvel Comics, how you have this group called the Watchers, And they actually sit around, and what they do is with their eyes, they watch what all the Marvel characters are doing, and they're cataloging it in like a celestial memory computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those weird things. I can share a
That's
picture.
very Enochic.
Yeah, and Stan Lee and Steve Ditko wanted those in there, so which is kind of funny. It's like, yeah, so the Marvel universe has Watchers too.
There's
Nice.
also a legend about the Sierra Nevada Watchers.
Sierra Nevada Watchers?
There's a story in that region, and they're basically of travelers in that area sometimes report seeing like these shadowy beings, but they never get like a scared, like they're never frightened by them per se, or get that vibe of uneasiness.
Mm.
But all their reports basically led to, just said they just stand there and watch, and then when they look at them, usually they just vanish. They're not quite shadow people, but they're just called the Watchers.
Interesting.
Indeed. Yeah, because the word that actually is used with this ear, it's relevant. The way you break it down, because I did a note on this before, I'm trying to remember, but it's that it's like seeing one, like one who sees, right? And so watcher is a very literal English translation of that particular word. All right, so as the work of Honest and other scholars demonstrates, Second Temple Jewish literature, particularly First Enoch and the Book of Giants, draws on Mesopotamian material for its retelling of events associated with the flood. Watchers is the overwhelming choice of the term for the fallen sons of God in Genesis 6, 1 through 4 in this later literature. The connection to the Akkadian Masare, excuse me, if I'm pronouncing that word right, because I did not look it up, provides a secure basis for understanding the meaning of ear to be vigilant watchfulness. This, of course, is consistent with being wakeful and a guardian role, right? So they're probably like God's security cameras.
Record keepers.
Could be because again, even in Daniel, the Watchers are just there observing what's going on. It's like the Watchers see, and they're seeing what you're doing. But that's a job description, a lot like Angel, which is messenger. A Watcher is a job description,
right?
So we don't really know anything more about the Watchers from the Bible, unless we supplement it with this other Dead Sea Scrolls and Essene stuff. And these Watchers, essentially is the rebellious camp of Semyaza and Azazel that decide they want to go to town with the human women. Right. So, next item. All right. So another word we do see in Daniel, it's Hebrew, not Aramaic. I messed up on that. Sorry, Mike.
Mike, were you going to make a point?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just coughing.
Oh, sure.
Mike, you're not allowed to get sick anymore this year.
Ha!
You're out of sick tokens.
That's right.
Yeah, don't get sick, Mike.
Well, I'm not actually sick.
Well, all the same, I don't want you getting sick. All right. All right. So the term SAR, which is important, at least in my reckoning, because this word has a lot of meaning to it, and it translates normally into prince, but it's also sort of like a higher ruler or an authority. like an elevated authority, right? If we want to super pick it apart.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the New Testament, these are discussed by Paul in Ephesians 6, where the archons are among the spiritual powers that battle with us. And that's sort of where I'm drawing a connection, because that word archons often gets as princes, principalities, rulers.
Mm-hmm.
Sar is a perfect word to be there if it is
Mm.
in the Hebrew, right? That would sort of be its cognate. Now, Mikael, which is his Hebrew name, it translates to who is like El, is named as a chief prince, not the a chief prince, Daniel 10:13, and is the Sar that is dedicated to national Israel.
Mm.
Now, from New English translation, however, the prince of the kingdom of Persia was opposing me for 21 days. But Mikael, one of the leading princes, came to help me because I was left there with the kings of Persia. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
what we see is that these different Sars, these different princes, are tied to nationalities. Because you have the prince of the kingdom of Persia, and then Michael is one of the leading princes who represents Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So all these different princes, these celestial princes, rule the different countries. And this is where the cosmic geography fits in, because that means that each of those princes has a jurisdictional geographical boundary that they're in charge of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can glean from this that one, there are a plurality of chief princes or sarim, right? Now, sarim are tied to nationalities, and then we can easily link this with the table of nations, Deuteronomy 32, 8 through 9. There likely are 70 of them, and then also see the ball cycle as Asherah has 70 sons. 70 equals 7 times 10 if you're a numerology nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so if there's like 7 heavens, there's 10 of them,
Mm-hmm.
to each tier.
Yeah.
Right, so that's a way to explain that, but this is all extra. Heiser doesn't mention that.
Right.
Yeah, and then also they can war and ally with each other, right? So while on earth these kings are moving against each other, you have the gods in heaven, or the Elohim in heaven, who are moving around and doing geopolitics with each other too.
Mm-hmm.
Chief princes in this context develops the archangel doctrine, which the names in hierarchy will vary per tradition and authority. First Enoch introduces 7 archangels, and the number of 7 is common, because 7 is like the holy number,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, Yahweh really likes the number 7, oddly enough, and that shows up a lot. Which funnily enough, is people use as evidence that Yahweh is Saturn, because Saturn is the 7th planet. He's the king of sevens, but we'll actually address the sevens thing coming up.
Right.
Hosts with the most. Now, Yahweh Sabaoth, which would be Yahweh of Hosts or Yahweh of Armies per Gesenius. It's like yeah, because Sabaoth, Sade, Bet, or Vet, Aleph, communicates from Strong's, which is like a mass of persons, like a large collective, and then Gesenius talks about it like an army or a host, right? So it's a collection of persons, but the implication is like an army, like it's militaristic,
Right.
a bit, right? Now, also similar to this is Yahweh Sabaoth, which when we read James 4, there's a line in there that refers to, the Lord Sabaoth, right? Or Kurios Sabaoth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Hebrew, well, actually, this verse kind of says to me that James might have a Hebrew original, but that's for another day. But the Hebrew Shabbat is numeral 7, which is also tied to the word Shabbat, which is the 7th day of the week, Shabbatot, weeks, plural, and Shabbaot, or of sevens, right? Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, which is, tied with Shabbatot, 7 weeks from Lag BaOmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, notice the 7 pattern that repeats
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all the time. Right? Dead Sea Scrolls, Song of the Sabbath Sacrifice, features 7 princes. And then first and third Enoch feature 7 archangels. Right. So this 7 number comes up all the time. Now the 7 also extends to planetary bodies and other expressions of meaning, which is like 7 heavens, or you have the 7 planets in geocentric astrology and stuff. So there's a lot of meaning there. And if you ever watched Seven Heaven, if you were around for that,
Yep.
that also is 7, right?
So a particular aside and a rabbit trail, I don't want to get lost in it, but uh, for those that will watch this in the future, first and third Enoch, first Enoch on a chronological timeline is pre-Jesus by, I think, what did we arrive at? Like 200, 200 plus years, 220 years, something like that.
It's like around 400 or so,
Yeah,
because
it's pretty old.
yeah, because that AI study that was done
Yeah.
on the Enoch books moved it like 100 years earlier.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
originally like 300s, but now there's reason to think it's like 400s.
Right. So the flip side of that is third Enoch is clearly a post uh Jesus book.
Yeah,
I don't know a specific timeline for it. What I do remember is that there is some strong evidence that third Enoch is actually a fledgling Christian church document, which the reason I point that out for folks that might be watching this is that they're not going, you need a clear distinction between chronologically where first Enoch and third Enoch live and why third Enoch is, it shapes the usefulness of the book. So the usefulness is in a like many of these things, it's a window into the mind of a particular sectarian group. Not everybody, but it does give you a general flavor.
right.
So you can't, where some people might argue that First Enoch is, they'll make an argument for First Enoch being either scripture itself, or they'll try, which is where I mostly come down, that it's a critical piece of literature within first century context, and I'll elevate it that high, but third Enoch for me personally does not get elevated that high because it's so late in the game, but it still provides an interesting window, which is why it's very useful here.
Exactly, because third Enoch is also part of the angel tradition,
Right.
which is why I mentioned that, because third Enoch I believe dates around early mid second century.
Correct. Correct.
So it's just after Jesus. It's an early church period, and it's also around the time of the Rabbi Akiva Jewish War.
Yep. Yep. Bar Kokhba.
Yeah, the Bar Kokhba. Thank you, the Bar Kokhba War. So it happens around that time.
Yeah. So it's what it's doing is it's telling you that the fledgling Christian church is still at this point in mid-second century is still hanging on to a lot of its Jewish roots. It
Right.
it hasn't succumbed quite yet to the fading of that, where the Jewishness is being slowly dismantled away. It's a great example of church thinking at the mid second century.
Yeah, because you also have because we also have like Ascension of Isaiah, like Christian Gnostic
Mm,
literature, because also around that time of late first century, early second century,
mhm.
and even onward, Jewish mysticism starts to really take root as a tradition.
Right.
Yeah, and it builds off of like it starts with Merkabah mysticism and then starts moving and developing into what we see as the Kabbalah.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of a starting point for the tradition. But I added third Enoch in here, not without purpose, because third Enoch carries that tradition of the seven archangels even beyond the time of the Lord into second century.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it compounds over time, right? Because it's a tradition, right? It
Right.
compounds and rolls over time. I think other Larry had a question.
Oh, hey. Do we
I
have
apologize. I wasn't ignoring you, Larry.
No, I don't see Larry here. Is he here?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
here in the chat.
Oh, it's not on my screen. I'm sorry, Larry. I didn't even realize you were with us. Go for it, brother.
I came late. We had dinner.
Oh, there it is. Now it showed up on my screen once you started talking.
Ah, it came up earlier today. The Didache. I don't think
Yeah,
there's anything in there about angels or demons, but it is allegedly a early Christian out that didn't make it into the scriptures, but it's one of the first documents they've got.
Yeah, that's still first century. That's how
yeah.
early that is.
Like barely first century, but I think like 90, because it's contemporaneous with like the writings of Clement of Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like around that period. But you're right to bring that up, Larry. That there is like really early content stuff.
Yep.
But but these, like, especially Enochian literature, because especially first Enoch actually gives you like lists of angels and what they do, and then also by their names, like we mentioned with Michael, Mikael, who is like El, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Gabriel, right? The power of God, right? You have Uriel, the light of God,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they can get interpreted different ways, right? These are all aspects of God's nature, or it's God asserting himself in the material world like an emanation, right? Or there's different ways to speculate about how they work, which further develops the angel tradition, right? now Now, circling back into this before we get too far into the weeds,
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh is surrounded by them in his court. 1 Kings 22:19, which is one of Dr. Heiser's favorite verses. He brings it up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the heavenly host, Shemayim, in Jeremiah 33:22, Nehemiah 9:6, and Daniel 4:35. Not necessarily enough to build a cosmology, in my personal view, Nick's view, but pulling from polytheism and geocentric astrology, par for the course in the ancient world, we may be able to do something with it. Because this is what I'm talking about, how, relating, what the sevens is. Because if Yahweh is in charge of the seven planets or the seven heavens to show his kingship over the world, that tracks.
Yes.
Right? Because he would be the ruler of material reality.
Yep.
Like even like, and that's universal across the board, because if Yahweh is the one creating material reality, he is king of it naturally.
Yep.
Yep. Literally everyone would agree with that notion. Yeah, but then it's interesting, is like Shemayim, the heavenly host, right? But if you change it to Shabbat with an A, Shemayim, seven heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Just tweak the Hebrew a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see that's the thing. That's the thing with Hebrew, is that when it's consonantal, it can say like five different words and have different meanings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what gets us in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what makes lemmas so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because also the different connotations. But then I kind of feel sorry for Jews, because it's like, okay, well, what does this Hebrew text mean? Because I'm reading it in consonantal. here, I'm going to go open the Talmud and see what it says. And then all the different rabbis have different opinions on what the word says.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's no help at all.
Yeah.
But you are entirely reliant on the rabbis for what the text means until the Masoretes put the Nakud in.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying, but also, but we can know concrete meanings of the text because we have the Septuagint,
Mm-hmm.
which dates even earlier than the Masoretes. So, but again, in the Hebrew, that's what we got. So you could play with Hebrew a little bit. I know J.D. Odlin, I keep bringing him up, but he actually does these word studies where he sits and takes a word in Aramaic and he like plugs it around and says, oh, well, it could mean this, it could mean this, taken in this context, it could mean that, or with a certain declension, it could mean that, and here's all the different meanings of that. It's super language autism. but you have but the overall point is that there's various ways this text can communicate something.
Yeah.
And even some words can change the whole meaning of the text.
Mm-hmm.
With implications and everything. So
right.
That's why I think his writing is interesting, and I've collected a lot.
Right.
I'm obviously going to plug him into my robot.
That's right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, but it's just kind of interesting how this works because one thing that I thought was kind of weird, or not really weird, but I'm wondering how it happens in James, is that Greeks can't do the together TZ sound diphthong.
Mm.
So it turns into Sabaoth, which is that S, because they have the sigma here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't have a TZ, but they have an S, and so it goes from of hosts to of sevens.
Yeah. Greek has any number of problems trying to replicate Hebrew. Hebrew is extraordinarily rich. Semitic languages in general appear to me to be very rich, and Greek. Then I mean, Greek uh, is built from another language family for another purpose, for another set of pantheon gods, and it just doesn't serve the same purpose. So when you're trying to cross the blood-brain barrier from Hebrew into Greek, you end up having to make some very serious choices.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them you can't read from them the mind of the translator. Some you can. There are some that will allow you to do that. That's one of the beauties of this study that I've just completed with the divine name pattern. Kyrios and Theos do a great job of mechanically grabbing Yahweh and Elohim from the Old Testament and carrying it into the LXX until you realize that you've also got Eloah, you know, Shaddai. I mean, just march down the bean row of the various root ancient names of God. And what you find in the Greek is that all of that really rich variant, not only in the words, but in the history, where Yahweh and Elohim are a little bit later, whereas Eloah, Elim, so on and so forth, or even Shaddai, are really ancient. So, uh, but those get squashed out of the Greek and they're just forever gone. So if you don't have a Jewish decoder ring available to you as a second, third, fourth, fifth century Greek person, that information just evaporates in front of you, which is why I brought up the whole thing in the chat about Pi, right? you got Greeks looking at Yud Hey Vav Hey, and they're going, oh, that looks a lot like, pi pi. And so, that's kind of the joke that Jerome is telling is yeah, these poor Greeks have no idea what they're doing with the Hebrew because they don't speak Hebrew at all.
That's so funny.
And it just evaporates in front of them trying to bring it into the Greek. That's why I think that who is it that says it? Is it Irenaeus or no, it's not. Gosh, who's the church father that says, yeah, they translated it from Hebrew to Greek and they did the best they could.
Hmm.
Some of them were just kind of shooting in the dark. But the ones that were
Indeed.
really good at it were actual Jewish scribes constructing the Septuagint, or should I say Septuagints plural. There's not just one. Um, they did a really, really great job, but you can still see within the language, at least around the divine names, that they still had some struggles. They had to make some theological choices, and sometimes they made it one way, and sometimes they made it another.
Oh yeah. Because even in like in the pagan world is that you have the cult of Zeus Hypsistos.
Hmm.
And then but as you move east, it becomes Theos Hypsistos.
Yes,
So what do you mean by either of those?
right.
Because even the Greek word for like the highest god, even if you believe like there's only one, he takes the title of Zeus.
Yeah, there's a particular, and I forget exactly where it is. I have to go dig up the notes for the books, but there's a particular place where I think it's book 5 of the Psalms, where it starts out with a psalm by Moses of all people. He starts the whole shooting match in book 5, but he uses two ancient uh, names for God, El and uh, gosh, is it El and then Elyon and then Yahweh? Anyway, when you look at it in the LXX, the three words are literally collapsed into just Lord, because that's what the Jewish translator took those three words and said, okay, this is talking about Yahweh. I'm just going to use Lord. I'm going to use Curious to represent Lord. And what happens is you completely flatten out the two other ancient names of God that Moses is using. They're just gone.
Yeah, indeed. Because even like you said, even all the different L names have such meanings
Yes.
that just gets lost.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know.
The shortened Yahweh into just Yah turns into all caps Lord,
Right.
you know, and it just disappears. The Hebrew mind gets squashed out.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, that's a complete sidetrack. Sorry.
Yeah. See, this is why we need the English to correct the Hebrew. This is why God revealed the King James Bible to us.
Exactly. Thank God for the King Jimmy.
For those of you that don't know, I'm joking about
Yeah,
that.
we're
I was a
totally
King James
sarcastic.
at one point, so it's a little jab.
Exactly.
But
All the King
I
James only
still
people
joke
got
about it.
happy.
I still joke about it because boy, I mean, I could be I'm quite the zealot. I can
In
be
your
quite the
younger
zealot.
years.
Ugh. All right,
Anyway,
so
back to the
back to the
rodeo.
slides. Right. So this is an example of what
Oh,
I'm
this is
talking
cool.
about. So you see how you have the 7 planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Saturn at the top, right?
Hmm.
That's the seventh heaven, 7 heavens all the way down. And then here's Earth, right? So, like how Dante lays this out, this Empyrean paradise is that immaterial world. And then down here, where we have Earth, Jerusalem is like our terra firma, which is our 0, 0 of where we are.
Yeah.
Right? But the idea is that each of these planets would have a corresponding angel in charge of them, and that could be measured. So a little bit of so Dante's tapping into this ancient mindset to build his little cosmological model here.
You got a cute little stairway going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And the does the Earth look flat? No.
Looks like
Earth
an
is
eyeball.
I was just trying to give a plug for our flat Earth friends.
Why we even give time to those people is just beyond me. It's
This comic relief.
Yes.
Moving along.
Yeah. I know Mike likes flat Earth. He's a big
He
fan.
does. He loves flat Earth. Don't you, Mike?
Got that right.
Yeah, Mike likes all the conspiracies. So
Yeah, he's our conspiracy guy.
yeah, it's just
Oh.
the Jesuit, Freemason, Jewish, communist, Bolshevik enclave
Oh,
want to keep the
and
truth
don't
from you.
forget chemtrails.
And chemtrails and HARP and
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah.
And to set the record straight, this is all sarcasm.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Are you sure though?
Footnote. No, it's a
Are you
footnote.
sure?
It's a footnote. We're footnoting that. All right.
All right, so back to hosts.
Yeah.
As Mettinger points out, an opinion on this matter has shifted mainly because clear instances of the divine name in the Hebrew construct position and phrases have surfaced in extra biblical texts. The traditional understanding vis-a-vis the construct relation Yahweh of Shebaot, notice the S,
Yep.
Shebaot, not the Sade, it's the Sheen, seems the most probable solution is made less problematical, that's a word, by the epigraphic attestation of analogs. Goodness me.
Man, you need
Scholars
to.
write normal.
Yeah, man, you
They
got to
write
put that in
normal for
English.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, $2 words in English, please.
Yeah, such as Yahweh of Teman and Yahweh of Samaria in Kentillet Ajrud. That's your Yahweh of Samaria and his Asherah inscription.
Okay.
That's super famous. And then Yahweh of Teman actually backs up a Bible verse that talks about like it says that Yahweh, it's a little poetic, but it says Yahweh emerged from Teman and from Paran, right? Yeah, so what this does is that puts Yahweh, like the origin of like Yahweh worship, where scholars put this in like the South Levant. Anyway, but that's for another day.
Sure.
But you see extra biblical stuff going on here in my Bible only study. But even if this is the case, the contract relation itself allows for various interpretation of the Sabaoth. He put a zeta there, element. Right. So for our purposes, Mettinger's point is well taken. The traditional translation can stand, but its meaning needs a bit more attention. What exactly does Lord of Hosts mean? Certainly, it speaks of Yahweh as commander in chief. It is not disputed that the hosts are his and he commands them. Duh. Perhaps the most fruitful of the alternative translation attempts is to consider the second element of the phrase, which Hebrew grammarians call an intensive plural abstract. Nice. Okay, that's a $5 word right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sure you're keeping tabs, Larry.
I am. I got a
Don't
tally.
cash this in yet.
That's right.
The result would be that the phrase means Yahweh the Almighty. So that would be like Yahweh El or Yahweh Gibor in Hebrew, if I am correct. Like the strong one, mighty one is Gibor. Yeah. The phrase, therefore, conveys a characteristic designation for the God King enthroned on the cherub throne as uncontested Lord of all heavenly powers. 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, Psalms, those references.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what this was supposed to communicate. I apologize.
It's okay.
I think we can get one more slide in before 7:30, and then we'll go ahead and take questions
Sure.
and discuss.
Well, we started a little late, so we can, if nobody minds, we can carry this to 7:45.
Whoa,
Hey, man,
Larry.
I'm feeling generous, brother.
Dang.
We did start late.
Yeah. But anyways, you have Yahweh, so the name Yahweh associated with all these other different words, right? Now we do get this relationship with El in the Torah, right? Where we have like El Roi, El Olam, El Shaddai.
Mm-hmm.
Those relate. It must be this. It's probably the same relationship. Okay. Now, the cherubim and the seraphim. All right. So the cherubim that we get in Genesis 3, that's the being that has the flaming sword to guard the gate of Eden. Exodus 25, that's what's made on the Ark of the Covenant. That's has their wings over the mercy seat.
Mm.
And Ezekiel 1 and 10, they are described
Mm-hmm.
as part of God's Merkabah chariot.
Yep.
And then you also have seraphim, which is in Isaiah 6, that in part of Jeremiah's vision.
Right.
Or no, excuse me. Oh, I confused that with Jeremiah 6. Because Jeremiah sees the chariot in Jeremiah 6 as well. Like he sees the chariot.
Okay.
But the seraphim here are in Isaiah 6, which is where they are described.
Right.
Right.
The six wings.
They're men with 6 wings, yeah.
Yep.
Appear to have particular details to their appearance. They are depicted flanking the throne of Yahweh, but what are they? What is their substance? Right. Both are said to have wings, though the number varies, which Exodus 25, 37, Isaiah 6. Cherubim are at times assigned 4 faces in both human and bovine body parts, Ezekiel 1 and 10. Seraphim is the plural form of sarap, and a Hebrew word also translated snake, Numbers 21, Isaiah 14. These descriptions are reflected in iconography from the biblical period. Neither is ever qualified with the term malach, so it is incorrect to think of cherubim and seraphim as angels.
Yeah, because that's not their job.
Right, they are completely different, but they are but nevertheless, where they are associated with the throne chariot, the Merkabah of Yahweh.
Absolutely, they are.
Yeah. Heiser draws on his book Unseen Realm to make a case that Serap is linked to serpent, which references the Egyptian throne guardian winged serpents, or Wadjet. However, the picture is complex. In the Egyptology field, as those serpents not only flank the sun disk of Ra, where Heiser is drawing the parallel, but also the serpents represent deities like Rano and bear great theological significance in their various depictions. One example we have up here in a picture, I actually have this paper, Serpent Myths of Ancient Egypt by Cooper. I'm referencing this to build this slide. But you see, you have a Canuphis, which is a 4-winged serpent.
Mm-hmm.
But again, but these winged serpents, you see them on crowns. You see them representing different forms of other gods. They're normally the serpent encircles the sun disk of Ra. Yeah, so there's there is a tie there. But it's just the picture is complex. Is like Heiser's kind of looking for a 1-to-1, but this is very superficial. If you want to autistically dive in and look at, okay, well, what is their function in the heavenly court? Is that all we know is that they're just associated with the sun disk of Ra? It's like winged creature. Hey,
Yeah, so where would get that from?
Emily brought up the caduceus of Mercury, and it's linked. There is a link there, but yeah, but the snakes have different significances in different contexts, right? I'm not well versed on Greek mythology, but there's like two serpents. Because I think Hermes, no, yeah, Hermes gets his lyre from Apollo, but the caduceus, I think he gets from Asclepius, which is
No
that
idea.
which is that serpent rod we see on the side of our ambulances, and it's a medical
Yeah.
symbology, like the
Yeah.
rod of Asclepius. Yeah, Mercury carries that as he goes to and fro about the world. So, but there is a parallel between that. Yeah. So more cherubim and seraphim, right? Now, as Heiser continues, as recent research demonstrates, the Egyptian uraeus serpent, drawn from two species of Egyptian cobras, fits all the elements of supernatural seraphim who attend Yahweh's holy presence in Isaiah 6. The relevant cobra species spit burning venom, which is pretty metal, can expand wide flanges of skin on either side of their bodies, considered wings in antiquity, when threatened, are obviously serpentine. As Yoings points out, or notes, the protective nature of the uraeus cobra is evident. A function of the uraeus is to protect the pharaoh and sacred objects by breathing out fire on its enemies. Now, these often get called the wadjet, which has the form of a winged serpent, but the wadjet is actually a goddess that is attached to Ra and is representative of Lower Egypt. So we have an example of a wadjet that wears a crown, and it's sitting on the throne of Tutankhamun here at the Egyptian Museum. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And then here's another one, image of two winged serpents that we see around a cartouche, which is the sign of the king. If you also want to see cartouches in other contexts, you can go to Larry's Amazon store and buy his shirt that says "Toots for Jesus" in a cartouche. So
that's right. Yeah, it is. Look at that. It's true.
Shameless plug. And then you have an amulet here that has the Eye of Ra. You have the Wadjet on one side, but then you have the vulture on the other side. And the vulture is representative of Upper Egypt. So what this amulet is communicating is that it's Ra, flanked by the two animals that represent Ra's kingship over Upper and Lower Egypt. And that's a sign of the ruling power of the pharaoh.
Right.
Right, because he will rule Upper and Lower Egypt. Along the Nile. So
Yep.
So a lot of this gets missed, because then it's that, okay, well, if 1-to-1, if seraphim are the Wadjet, does that mean what type of Elohim are they? Are they representative of something? Are they gods of their own? Are they, like, how does that work? Because this is all Heiser talks about with the seraphim. Because I could have sworn that because there was another place where he talks about how the Nachash means serpent in Hebrew, or it could mean serpent, right?
Yeah.
Used in Genesis.
Yep. Genesis 3.
Nachash is in Genesis in Hebrew, but in Greek it's Ophis, which is the Greek word for a snake. Like a slithery reptile. The snake. Yeah. So I'm just saying is that because the implication is that, Yahweh's seraphim that flank his chariot is derived from Egyptian theology.
Right.
Which I think is I don't know. I mean, it's very superficial, if at all. Because you'd think with the context of Isaiah, it would be more like Assyrian or Babylonian context that they pull from to do that, or Jews are just doing something on their own.
Well, there's certainly their greatest influence might be from an Egyptian stream, specifically because Moses gets trained up from boyhood into manhood as an Egyptian prince and priest in
Mhm.
training.
Right,
So he's got a mind full of Egyptian theology.
right.
So I
Yeah,
don't find it surprising that Egypt would be your greater draw. It might be, certainly Assyrian and Babylonian would come to play, uh, you know, exilic times, right?
mhm.
Um, after David and Solomon, suddenly, I mean, Egypt is still there. They're still in play. Matter of fact, they're probably the longest player on the block,
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
minus the perhaps Sumer, but even Ugarit is a later player along with is Babylon older? I don't know, man.
I mean, because Babylon, can even reach back to Akkad and Sumer and
Indeed.
these other Mesopotamian, yeah, Euphrates uh, civilizations.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure
Because
how that would lay out on a timeline.
yeah, because also all the ancient Near East and all their various civilizations, they all artistically and religiously talk to Egypt.
Yeah,
Yeah, because even see the vulture, how he wears the Atef crown.
right.
The ball statue that I showed earlier wears the Atef crown, or the El statue. He wears an Atef crown, and that's from like northern Canaan, where that statue comes from.
I'm looking back to see I have a timeline. Can I find my timeline? Uh, oh goodness, man. Don't tell me I've lost my timeline.
No.
I just probably am not seeing it. Yeah, I've got that timeline that I bought probably 2.5 years ago. And I have it in these giant maps. They're like, 5 foot by 5 foot, and um, they show history from Adam to present on a circular timeline, so you can kind of see it all laid out.
Oh, that, yeah, my Baptist church has one of those.
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to kind of see where um the timeline of each one of the, Sumer, Akkad, Ugarit, Babylon, blah blah blah, to see how they fall out, but I'm not spotting it, so that's fine. I don't have to.
Yeah, because even my stint into researching like Syria and like Damascus and every like the Luvians and the Hurrians and
Hmm.
all, like the Hittites and all these other like civilizations, just to get a beat on like the timeline of the northern, like what is it, like sub Caucasus, Syria.
Uh, yeah, 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 yeah. I
Yeah,
know what you're saying.
yeah, because there's so many civilizations in there. But even traveling along that, sorry, even along traveling that Euphrates River,
Yeah,
because you can trace all these civilizations, like they just ride the river as far as it can go and just set up.
yep,
They go around. It's like they purposely go around the Levant, but then they
yeah,
end up there anyway.
yep, yep,
But it's like they do what they can to avoid the Levant because
yep.
they knew it would be trouble. Probably. I mean, the Levant is still trouble to this day.
Yeah, yeah.
hear about it every day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but to top it off here with, all these different types of celestial beings,
Mhm.
is that the picture is complex. And
Yes.
especially with, like, while we're talking about the divine chariot stuff with cherubim and seraphim, is that I think it would do well for us to also look into, like, the Merkabah stuff, because they might have something to offer. It's post Jesus, but it's still early enough to be, like, natively Jewish, because they're pulling from this.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it takes me back to my Cloud Rider study, which is completely out of date. I've learned so much since then.
oh yeah,
But one of the things that still kind of stands out about that is that there is uh the Inanna uh skyboat, right? The
yep,
Ma'ana, and the skyboats are uh living things. They're not machines, they're alive.
yeah,
And you always find them being controlled, being piloted. And so, but they are not mechanical. They are living creatures who have a purpose of transportation. That's what they do.
yeah. But notice y'all said skyboat. Well, Ra rides in a skyboat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it permeates all of the ancient Near East, this idea of a skyboat. Because, that's how you do it. When you're in the ancient Near East, you have boats that carry you across water, and you have the waters of the sky. Well, obviously you must have boats, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
just
Over the watery chaos. You
correct.
need
Yep. Yep. The Rakia of Genesis 1, the dome, the water dome.
right.
Yeah. And so you need a boat for that in a pagan ancient Near Eastern mind. And so you have boats in the sky, sky boats, and they are alive. They're not mechanical like they are for humans. They're living creatures. So yeah, they're going to have wings because that's what they do. You got to have wings if you're going to fly. If you're going to get up to the sky, you don't just climb mountains. Somewhere you got to get to the top of the mountain and you got to be able to fly off into the heavens, into the skies.
Yeah,
So, of course, you have wings.
it's a lot of Red Bull.
Exactly. It gives you wings every day, 20 ounces.
It's just kind of funny is that, like, here's a story of Inanna, this, the mother of all gods, and she just wants to take the chariot out for a
For a
joyride.
joyride. Yeah, exactly. Dad,
Like,
get
I
out of the
want to
car.
drive.
My daughter stole my car. Go get her back.
It's so funny.
It is.
It's so funny. But that's how they see the heavens, as heaven reflects earth and vice versa.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you've got the young prince joyriding in the royal chariot. Why not having the sky gods do it?
Yeah, yeah. That's what oh, what's his name? Because it was Helios's chariot in the Greek context. His son, oh, what's his name?
I don't know as much as I probably ought to about Greek mythology.
Yeah, Phaeton.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was Phaeton who rode the chariot. I got to
Hmm.
look it up again.
Sure.
Someone's going to come correct me, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share and conclude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's saying I can share my screen. Were you
Oh,
guys seeing my slides?
no. No, somehow the slides got we do share.
What?
I was seeing your slides while you were doing the presentation. I just see Larry now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Larry cut my share. Okay.
No, I didn't. One
I didn't
participant
do it.
one participant can share at a time. All participants can share. So try it again.
All right, we're going to start over, everybody.
Well, this is going to midnight.
Because I know you saw the 7 planets.
Yes. Well, I don't know why. I don't know why it cut off the share. I really don't know.
You saw the winged serpent image, right?
Right.
Okay, and then
I saw it all the way till the end when you said you were going to wind up your presentation. That's when he.
And then that's when it disappeared.
Yeah.
And I didn't do nothing.
is Sam Altman watching? Anyway, but
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up even without the slides. We'll just wrap and we'll pick it up next week.
Indeed. Because now finally we can start breaking into chapter 2.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well we have chapter 2 to look forward to next week then.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it's a little more meaty in chapter 2 because now we start to apply all of the definitions we had.
Yeah.
And we start to go into like what can the text of the Bible tell us about how they work. Like how the angels in them work, how the angels and the celestial beings and Elohim work.
Yep. What do they do?
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, if that we can continue to talk as long as we want, I'll go ahead and end the recording now.